feet. See the light in everybody you meet. If you're able, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. If you're able, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. If you're able, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. If you're able, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. If you're able, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Here we go. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. If you're able, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. 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 Okay. So I want to address the lyric change. Last week we had a guest who was with us who was in a wheelchair. And as I was singing this song, I kept looking. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a really ableist song. And so I went and talked to this individual last week, and I said, I just want to say that it occurred to me as I was singing the song that it felt really ableist, and I'm going to change the lyric, and I'm going to write the music writer, I'm going to write the composer of the song, and I'm going to say, I'm changing your lyric, and here's why. I haven't heard back from him yet. But I think he'll totally understand. He's a good friend of mine and a good friend of the New Thought movement. So here we are. Welcome once again, beautiful humans. Welcome to Unity of Tucson. As I said before, we are a spiritual community, and this spiritual community here, we stand for inviting us all to embrace practical tools for personal transformation. That's what we stand for here. We have a teaching here that is so profound, and I was just speaking with somebody out in the foyer before the service, and they just wanted to let me know this stuff really works. Stuff was not quite the word they used. But it does. This stuff really works. And so we're here to be practical in our approach to spirituality, put it to use in our lives, and make our lives better. You may hear things that will challenge your beliefs today. You're not going to believe everything you hear today. Is there anyone here who is fully bought hook and sinker into everything I've had to say on a Sunday? Exactly, right? I don't even buy it sometimes. No, actually, I do believe everything I say, but I know what I believe. I know what we teach, and I invite you to tap in and make some determinations around what it is you think, what it is you believe, and what it is you feel around all of that, because those things are moving forth through your consciousness into your experience. They are creating the construct of your life. And so you may not believe everything you hear today, but you will hear something you do believe, and check in on those things that challenge your beliefs, because there may be some room for expansion and growth there. And that is our theme for this month, expansion, right? I love that as a theme. If you are, I keep wanting to skip ahead. We do have a vision and a mission here at Unity of Tucson that we share together, and I would love for us as a community to say the words out loud of this vision statement.
We envision a world awakened to its magnificence. We envision a world awakened to its magnificence. That's the vision. How we get there? Well, that's what the mission is for. Our mission is the steps we take. These are the steps we take to achieve this vision. So let's state out loud the words of our mission statement. Love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. Love only, forgive everything, remember who you are. I'm just taking a moment of quiet right now to think back to what I said a moment ago. But you may not believe everything you hear today. Is there something in this mission statement that challenges something for you? And I'm not asking you, this is a rhetorical question, so I'm not asking for you to raise your hand. I'm inviting you to just check in to see how that touches you and see what moves through you, and to deepen into an awareness of the truth of your being, because that's what it's touching upon. If you are joining us here for the first time, let me first acknowledge anyone who may be joining us online. We do stream live to 3 different locations every single Sunday: Facebook, YouTube, and to our own website. And if you're watching us live right now, or if you're watching us on the archive video, it is such a delight to have you join us in this virtual way, and I'm so grateful that you've decided to spend some time with us here today. If you are here in the room and you're joining us for the first time today, well, if you are comfortable with identifying yourself, and if you are able, please stand up, or if you're not able, you can raise your hand and wave it around and let us know. Welcome, grateful to have you here. And remain standing, remain so that we can see you for just a moment, because it's not just a physical gift that we have to offer for you. We have something that we would like to let you know, because we had a sense that you were going to be present with us here today. And so there's a truth about you that we would like to share with you. Is everyone ready to share this truth? Okay, so here we go. You are magnificent. Yes, you are. Thank you so much for being here, joining us. You can be seated. Now, we know that truth about you because every single person that we encounter in our lives is a reflection of something inherent within each and every one of us. So I believe, and what I teach, is that every person can be a reflection and is a reflection of our own magnificence. And so as we touch in on accepting that inner magnificence, we are met with the same in our lives. So let us all exclaim together this affirmation: I am magnificent. How does that feel? Yes, good response today. Good response today. Would you please welcome today, leading us in our Lighting the Flames of Faith ceremony, our Keeper of the Flames, Mary Alls.
Good morning. I am so grateful to be here. Very grateful. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by the sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to divine love as the highest calling. We light a candle for all universal religions of the Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. I don't get nervous up here, I just drop everything. I think it goes back to when I was a kid. I was told to never play with fire. We light a candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony, and for any seekers who may be unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, or for keeping space that we are keeping open for them in our hearts. The final candle represents the healing of any circumstance that requires divinity to be revealed. This is your candle. Whatever it is in your mind and heart that requires light. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. This candle here is our peace candle. And as you know, those of you who are with us every week, we keep this candle consistently illuminated with this idea, this understanding that it is a representation of the infinite peace within our own hearts. And as we allow our internal peace to inform our thoughts, our deeds, our intentions, our actions, right where we are, each and every one of us is creating a more peaceful world. And so let's honor this candle and this idea by stating together the prayer for world peace. Divine love indwells each person and radiates from one to another. Harmony is established and peace begins to reign in the world. I'm not really this much of a control freak, but it was gonna drive me crazy. I have let go of my control freak ways. You know what? I used to think that I was a perfectionist, and I used to have the habit of perfectionism, but what I realize is I'm a specifist, and there's a big difference, and I invite you to be on that journey of figuring that out for yourself. We have a glorious group of talented individuals who have all taken into their heart the power and the practice of prayer, and we invite them to be part of each Sunday service. So here, with a reading, guiding us in our monthly affirmation, and leading us in prayer is this day's prayer chaplain, Ruth Starwell.
And so I begin with a reading. And this is from the little book of Atheist Spirituality by, I know I had to get it. Right? How can you not pick that book off the shelf? By Andre Comte Sponville. Only rarely do we inhabit eternity. Or rather, only rarely are we aware that we inhabit it. Almost all of us, on the other hand, have experienced moments of at least partial attention. Plenitudes, peace, simplicity, freshness, lightness, truth, serenity, presence, acceptance, and freedom. Such is the path upon which we find ourselves, the path of spirituality, spirit as path, along which we can advance. Those who have followed it to its end, even once, know it leads nowhere, except, that is, right where we already are. The absolute is not the end of the road. It is the road itself. In everyday life, of course, such people must continue walking their paths like everyone else. Spirituality is the walking, but from the point of view of time. what the mystical experience affords us for the space of an instant is the path itself, but from the point of view of eternity. A spirituality of every day, a mysticism of eternity. As Krishnamurti put it, we cannot give the wind orders, but we must leave the window open. Our spirit is the window. The absolute is the wind. And so as we consider eternity and expansion and our life in that, we have an affirmation to help make it personal if you choose to do that. So I will read it one time and allow you to just kind of sense how that feels for you. And then I invite you to repeat it 2 more times with me and claim it for yourself. So our affirmation for this month. My personal nature is infinitely boundless and ever expanding. You should join me in that. My personal nature is infinitely boundless and ever expanding. And again, my personal nature is infinitely boundless and ever expanding.
Take a breath and settle in for this centering experience as we combine prayer with music.
I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the wonder that you are. I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved. I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the wonder that you are. I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved.
So now I invite you to join me in a moment of prayer. Just taking in that beautiful song. Being here right now, I am grounded in the ground of being. That infinite nature that is always present here now. That I am. That divine nature that is the glory, the beauty, the magnificence of life itself. That is present here, that is present through you, as you, expressing beautifully. Expressing simply, clearly. And so with that knowledge, with that knowing, with that groundedness in the presence, I accept that infinite love. I accept that divine guidance. I accept that wholesomeness, that wholeness, that holiness. that for each and every one here, that infinite nature of the one expresses beautifully as you, divine love, giving, receiving, being in that presence, here, now, always, in every step of the path, claiming it, knowing it, honoring it, and admiring it, and being in it. And so it is.
I'm here to remind you of your magnificence, to help you awake to all the wonder that you are. I long to show you all the joy you're worthy of. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved. I'm here to remind you how much you're truly loved.
Thank you, Ruth. And thank you. I was asked last week, hey, when are we going to get some more guest singers? We're working on it. I will tell you that musicians coming off of the holidays usually want a little time off, right? Because we work really hard over the holidays, and we are gathering our lineup. In fact, we have a great guest singer who's coming in next week, who will be new to our community. I'm super excited to bring her, but I'm not going to tell you who it is yet. Because today is the day where I'm going to sing the featured song once again. And it goes right in line with this idea of expansion. It goes right in line with our affirmation for the month as well.
Open your mind, unfold your heart, relax your senses, feel every part. You ain't got a thing to fear. It looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Breathe every breath. Release your cringe. Love without waiting, slowly unhinge. You ain't got a thing to fear. It looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. You can stop waiting for love to find you. Look inside your heart. Love is already who you are. So lift up your voice. Let it be heard. story, yeah, go on, tell it to me. Don't leave out a word. 'Cause I think I've been there too, and I'm a seeker just like you. You ain't got a thing to fear. It looks like love is growing here. So take your guard and let it down. Go deeper still until you come unwound. Unbound. Lay it down, lay it down. Yeah, go on, lay it down, unbound. Open your mind, unfold your heart.
Thank you. And thank you to these magnificent musicians. Yeah. Well, the title of the talk today was Anticipation. Today, I wanted to talk about this idea of anticipation and the construct that it really is talking about, which is expectation. What are you expecting? Again, rhetorical question. I am not expecting you to say an answer to me. I am expecting you to look into your heart and see what comes up for you. What are you expecting right now? What are you expecting right now? Whatever you are expecting at the level of faith is what you will experience. That is a core, fundamental premise of our teaching. What is happening in our mind, what is happening in our belief system, what is happening in the feelings that are related to our mind and our belief is what is creating our experience. It is creating the quality of our life. So what are you expecting right now? I am frequently in conversations with people, and surprise, surprise, as a minister, the philosophy usually comes up as part of the construct of conversations I have with people. And so it almost always, irrespective of what's happening in somebody's life, here's the thing, as a minister, I've committed myself to knowing a deeper truth about all the things that we call problems in our lives. And so as people express to me their perception of problem, my desire and my expression and experience is always to root myself in the heart space and say, it's a perception, and what wants to happen here? What is the expectation here? And it is a daily practice, a daily practice. I was led to Henry David Thoreau today. Mostly I go to Emerson when we talk about the transcendentalists, but there's this quote of Henry David Thoreau that I wanted to share with you today. We must learn to reawaken and keep ourselves awake, not by mechanical aids, but by an infinite expectation of the dawn. I know of no more encouraging fact than the unquestionable ability of man to elevate his life by conscious endeavor. We must learn to reawaken, and very important, and keep ourselves awake. And then he says this phrase, not by mechanical aids. Sometimes I get up here and I talk about the approach we take to this entire philosophy, and we want to get in there and we want to manipulate the circumstances, manipulate the experiences, manipulate the stuff out there. That's what he's talking about. He's saying we should live in this awakened state, but not by trying to manipulate or coerce anything into happening. Our job is to be in that infinite expectation of the dawn. And boy, what flows forth from that conscious perspective. I also want to acknowledge the fact that it was gendered language at that time. And so when he refers to man, he does refer to us all, irrespective of our gender. In this construct of reawakening, what I think is that in our time on this plane of action, and we have a limited experience on this plane of action. Is there anyone who's not having a limited experience on this plane of action? Because if you are, you should come up here. Because I'd love to hear from you. But in this time on this plane of action, we are often referring to the experiences we have, especially if you're in a spiritual philosophy or a spiritual community, as a constant path of reawakening, right? We're constantly trying to wake up, to let go of that sleep which we have been experiencing so that we can come into a greater understanding and expression of our infinite self. True awakening, I think what he is positing is that true awakening is in expectation. This is how we elevate our lives, to create the lives that we constantly talk about wanting, greater quality of experience, allowing ourselves to live in glorious, delicious expectation for the good. The good. And there are a lot of us who, below the level of awareness, live in a consistent expectation of worry, of fear, of doubt. And so it takes work. Oh, and there I go again. This philosophy is work. Is Diane here? Because one of our former board members, and I love to tell this story that she told me. She said, she had brought a friend to church one day in a Unity church, and they were sitting there, and at the end of the church, at the end of church service, he said, "Well, what did you think? Did you like it?" And she said, "No." You want me to work on myself. But I know that if you are here in this room, whether you are here for the very first time, you know nothing about the New Thought philosophy, you are here on purpose, even if somebody dragged you here. Because there is an infinite inner purpose that is drawing you to the experiences to which we are living in great expectancy. And so there is something that brought you to be here today. I hold that to be firm in my own heart, that as a resolve and a belief in my heart. You get to decide what you believe, but I hold that as a belief, that if you are here on purpose. And so if you leave with nothing else, leave today with purpose. To perhaps make that one shift in your mind, that one shift in consciousness that makes your life better. And nobody else is going to do it for you. You're the one who's going to have to do it. You mean I have to work on myself? The other thing that happens is we show up on our Sundays, and and this is not meant to be disparaging of anybody who only shows up on a Sunday. The question that I have is, what happens when you walk past these doors and you experience the other 6 days of the week? Are you maintaining a practice of expectancy of the good? And if you're not, and it's okay if you're not, I will just ask you this question: what are you waiting for? What is it that you are looking to experience here? Notice I didn't say acquire here. What are you looking to experience here? Because it is the experience, I think, that you carry with you. What in your life has eluded you? A lot of questions today. What in your life has eluded you, or that you feel has eluded you? Is anyone, again, rhetorical, or maybe not? Yes, rhetorical. just check in with yourself and see if there's anything you feel is missing because something that you wanted or you thought you expected has eluded you in life. I like to talk about the big picture sometimes, the big picture ideas, right? It's when we get into class that we take it down to what I call the nitty-gritty, and we really put this stuff into practice. But let's talk about the big picture, because sometimes it's easier to see the big picture, isn't it? It's like, oh, I can step back and I can see the big picture, and now what is for me to do is to figure out in what manner might I navigate the big picture. What are the big picture things in your life that operate? What are the big picture things in your life that operate in your life? Like, what is it that is a driver for you? What is the big picture driver for you? I talked about this on Wednesday night. It's something that I called, did I talk about it on Wednesday night? Everything mushes together sometimes. I talked about the idea of a global intention, right? That you have this global intention. That's a big picture idea that drives you, and every decision you make in your life is based on this global intention. And if you can identify that, and there may be more than one, I want to be very clear, but if you can identify that, you're already a step ahead of what I think 90% of the people in this world are experiencing. So what is the big picture idea that drives you? Now, in relationship to that big picture idea, do you have any regrets going on? Are you feeling any regrets around that? Or do you have sorrow over something that you can look at in your past that is related to the big picture idea that you can say, oh my gosh, that was such a failure in relationship to the big picture and the direction that I want to move? Because here's what happens for a lot of people. They get mired in that stuff, and then they can't move forward, because all they can see is the big picture clouded by that. Let it go. Because you are unbound. That's the truth. You are absolutely unbound. Here's the thing. Sorrow and regret are easy. They're easy. So easy to get trapped into. We often live with this consciousness of sorrow and regret because we get something out of it. We get to tell our story. And we get sympathy, and we get that energetic connection with others called sympathy. What are you expecting to gain from holding on to all of that? I lived for a long time in the identity. I carried an identity of a failed relationship for me for a long time. And I would tell the story over and over without an elevated point of view, because I would get sympathetic attention from people. And I would mistake that sympathetic attention for love. And a lot of us do that. And it is a form of love. I want to be really clear. It is a form of love when your friends give you that kind of sympathetic attention. But the true love to embody is the love that is found right here within. And when you find that, that story no longer has any weight or bearing in your life. When I found that story went out the window as something that I had to carry with me to feel like I was being in an experience of love. Now I keep coming back to the story just because it's a good story to tell on a Sunday. As long as I lived that story, I failed to remember that I was in charge. And we do that a lot too. I'm here to tell you, you are 100% in charge of your life. 100%. There is no one else who has any bearing on the flow of your life except you. But there's a caveat, unless you let someone else make those decisions for you. And so I'm going to encourage you today to check in, free of judgment, and determine for yourself, is this something that I'm experiencing? And is this something that I would like to turn around in my life? And if it is something that you would like to turn around in your life, you know what? The good news is this: you are in charge. You always have been. You always will be. We talk a lot about God, right? It's funny because I think that's the first time I've said the word God. But we talk a lot about God. We talk about God in multiple synonyms, the infinite source, the creator, the divine, the source energy, whatever we choose to call God, that greatness on demand, which is the truth of who you are, that greatness on demand. We talk a lot about God being present and creative in our lives, and yet we squash down that creativity by living in the past. It's true, God is consistently creating, but God can only create through you to the degree that you open yourself up to that unbounded, expansive sensibility, to the degree that you let go and live in the anticipation of only the good. That power cannot create without your causative energy being put into it. Now, we are always putting causative energy into it. The trick is to understand if you are putting causative energy into it from the point of view of goodness and love and light and peace and power and beauty and joy, or are you putting the causative energy into it below the level of awareness into sorrow and regret? You get to make the decision. Because cause starts in mind, your mind. That's what the great teacher was here to teach us. It is done unto you as you believe. That's why I spent a lot of time at the beginning of the service to say, check in to see what it is that challenges your beliefs here, because your beliefs are creating your experience. I can't say it enough. You are in charge. So, what's the problem? What's the problem? I think a number of us have fallen away from the idea that we are unique creators. What do I mean by that? I mean that we've gotten into this pattern of patterning other people's creative ideas. There is no requirement that any of us do that. So I spent a lot of time up here talking about self-reliance and self-expression as well, right? We release our power and give over to conformity. We conform to other people's ideas of what is acceptable. We take those on as beliefs as we grow up and learn what is acceptable in society, right? And there are some that I can agree with. I don't think murder is acceptable. If there's anyone here who believes that murder is acceptable, keep it to yourself. But giving up my expression of identity and personality to conform to anybody else's idea of what or who I should be, to me, that is not acceptable. I must stand firm, and we must all stand firm in the identity that we are unique, magnificent, glorious expressions of this thing called God. We've bound ourselves up for far too long trying to conform to other people's ideas. There's I didn't put it up here, but there's a quote that I often think of, and I wrote it down on my notes today, from Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of religious science. He said, "It is probable that most of us go through life more or less hypnotized by what everyone else has believed." Oh, that's heavy, isn't it? Yeah. And it begs the question, are any of us truly original thinkers? Or are we living in that hypnotic state, in that mesmerized state? Or are we living in anticipation of those things, repeating themselves and repeating themselves and repeating themselves until we step forth and say, no more, stop, I am changing my mind. Charles Fillmore was very famously said, "I reserve the right to change my mind." So everything that is constructed around the unity philosophy, around religious science, around divine science, whatever new thought tradition you may have come from, no matter what, we are open to the potential that it is changeable. We have been simply repeating patterns, and even in this, we have patterns that we accept. That's why I say question everything. That's why I say often that is how we can state clearly that we do not have dogma in Unity or in the New Thought movement. We don't. We have doctrine. And I will clarify again, doctrine is a teaching, which is what we have. Dogma is a teaching that cannot be questioned. I invite you to question everything, because I'm consistently in that state of questioning everything. Doctrine is meant to be questioned, because that's how we grow, that's how we expand, that is how we thrive in this thing called life. New Thought is rooted in the work of, if you go back far enough, and those of you who are in class in the membership orientation with me last Saturday, a week ago yesterday, will perhaps remember this name. It's not a requirement, you're not going to get quizzed on it. But we trace back to a guy named Anton Mesmer. Anton Mesmer, right? Which is where we get the word mesmerize. Because what Anton Mesmer was looking at is there is a connection between the mind and the experience. And he was one of the forerunners of actually articulating it and putting it down and saying, I want to play with this. But it does beg the question, to what degree have we allowed our own mesmerized state, rooted in past paradigms, define our present? To what degree have we allowed those mesmerized states to define our present moment? And are we willing today to say, no more? No more! And live in the anticipation of something new. Live in the anticipation of something new and exciting and different and joyful. Or are you anticipating some past feeling is just going to keep repeating itself? So, and that's frankly a good one that I ask myself all the time. I have a tendency to want to recreate feelings because why? Well, they feel good, right? I want to recreate those things that make me feel good. But I'm also living more and more in a state of not knowing, because anticipation is not knowing. I live in that state of not knowing and trusting faithfully that whatever needs to be known will be known and expressed and experienced. So what are you expecting in any given moment? That's really the core question today. What are you expecting in any given moment? It all really started, this whole message today really started with that idea. What you are expecting, you will receive. So start to uncover your expectations. How do you approach situations in life? Do you approach situations in life with excitement or dread? Because they're not so far off in terms of the physiological experience. Excitement and dread can feel the same. Do you realize that? Imagine two people, one filled with dread, one filled with excitement, approaching the same event. Who do you think is going to have a better time? Who do you think will have the preferred experience, or what we might call the preferred experience? How much of your life, this is again, as all questions are today, rhetorical. How much of your life are you approaching with the anticipation of dread? I will tell you, I acknowledged this morning that I have a little bit of fear happening for me. That little bit of fear is around a decision I made about 15 years ago that at some time in my life, most likely the year I turned 50, and it's just, of course, that's the anticipation. It's all working out that way because that was a firmly held faith. The year I turned 50, I would walk the Camino de Santiago in Spain. You know what that pilgrimage is? If you don't know, very briefly, it's a 500-mile pilgrimage. You start in the south of France, you hike over the Pyrenees, and you keep walking every day for 5 to 6 weeks. And I have wanted to do this for the past 15 years when the idea and the concept was first introduced to me, and I am doing it this year. And there's a little bit of terror in me around that. So my work, this is the work. My work is to let go of the dread and recognize and call it excitement. Where did we learn to fear, and are we willing to let it go? You're in charge. You get to make the distinction and decision. If you are not consciously in charge, you are allowing your subconscious to rule. You are allowing those things below the level of awareness to rule. That is living in a hypnotized state that is probably not going to work out very well for you. So today, unbind yourself. Be unbound. Today, look at your sense of anticipation. It's exciting. Today, awaken to the infinite. Peace and blessings. You are magnificent. And so each week I introduce this section by saying, if you are new to our community, I want to let you know I give homework every week. Because, as I said at the beginning, this is meant to be a practical application of a spiritual philosophy, and so the homework is intended to help you be guided into a practical application. So this week, I'm inviting every single one of us to pay attention to our expectations. I wonder why that is. Could that be what my whole talk was about? Are they rooted in past ideas of what should be? Or are you living in the expectancy of the good, irrespective of past ideas? Every morning, I want us each and every morning to wake up and write down, so keep a notepad by your bed, write down what you are expecting in that day. Just write it down. Look at it. Make some determinations. Don't qualify it as good or bad. Don't judge it. Just write it down. What are you expecting? Make some determinations. Ask yourself this question: is this what I really want? Is this what I really want? And if it is, great, move forward. And if it is not, make a conscious choice to change your mind in that moment. Scratch out what it is that you want to change and write down a new expectation and see how your week works out. All right, let's take a breath. Relax right where we are. See what kernel of truth is expressed and come up for us that is present in our hearts, that we get to carry with us from this moment moving forward. What is working?
Now my hands do your work, and now my lips speak your truth, and now my life is the image of your love, Spirit, Spirit as me. Now my voice sings your song. Now my heart is at peace. Now my soul is the laughter of a child, Spirit, Spirit as me. So let's take this conscious opportunity to settle our minds into a prayerful state. If it's safe and comfortable to close your eyes, feel free to do so. As we open ourselves to an acknowledgement of the infinite power and presence of the One, the source of all that is God. This greatness on demand, this energy, this magnificence, this universality, the omniscience, the omnipotence, and the omnipresence. And recognizing and knowing that this is the only thing that exists. There is nothing separate from. I acknowledge that, and wholeness of us is divine. This is our identity. So rooted in this divine identity, I know the word I speak right now is creative. And so I set my intention forth to live in the anticipation of the good, to recognize and know at all times that there is nothing
at all from the past that has any bearing on who I choose to be moving forward. I live in a constant state of expansion, and I trust and know that each and every one of us does this perfectly, easily, and effortlessly. And it is with gratitude overflowing from within that I acknowledge this as so. I trust it, and I release this word as law, knowing it to be. And I affirm it by saying, and so it is. Amen.
And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Now my hands do your work. Now my lips speak your truth. Now my life is the image of your love, Spirit, Spirit in me. Spirit in me. Spirit, Spirit in me.
Old habits die hard, because I started that song with the lyric change I talked about last week, and I don't know if you know, it says Spirit as me, and then at the end, I was in the song, I'm like, Spirit in me. I'm like, no, that's not the lyric I want to continue. That's okay. Would you please welcome to the platform the treasurer of our board of directors, Steve Ross.
Well, let's see. So looking at the books for December, they aren't quite done yet, so I can't give you the final numbers for the year yet. So you'll all have to come back to February 19th. Or
February 19th is the annual
meeting
meeting.
after church on February. Yeah. So I'll have 5 or 6 slides, so you'll have all the numbers you want. So we'll go there. I did want to talk, we always talk about different ways to give. I do want to remind people that, remember, you have a check. You take the check and you put it in the envelope. I looked in my check register. I think this is the only check I still write. So you slip it in the envelope. You don't have to seal the envelope. It helps when we count. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know that supporting our church is
Can I make
here.
a request, though?
Sure.
Please write legibly if you're giving cash.
Yes.
It is one of the important things. We want to make sure that you're credited properly for your donation, and so please do write legibly. Sometimes we get, and it's not quite legible.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
So, supporting our church, you get something here, so please remember what you get and what you can give. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. There you can also give electronically, of course, by scanning the QR code, going to unitytucson.com. You can also text Unity Tucson to 73256. We have many, many, many ways that you can help support our community, and I'm deeply grateful for everyone who supports our community. As the baskets go around, we're going to sing our giving song. Feel free to stand up and dance on our giving song if you are moved to do so and are able.
By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my one everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Here we go. I celebrate my abundance today. By giving this gift, I show my faith. As I open my heart, my world becomes a better place. Yes, it does. I release all fear as I share gratefully. This love that I give always gives back to me. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Knowing my oneness with everything else, I know that all that I give to myself. Here to guide us on in our blessing of the offering, please welcome our other prayer chaplain in service today, Sherry Hoffman.
Morning. So I know we've been doing this hand rubbing thing, and I know when I first started doing hand rubbing in places, I didn't understand it. So I just wanted to kind of explain what we're doing a little bit. We're kind of gaining our energy, our thoughts, our feelings, just warming it up, feeling that warm, right? And then as we take that, we're gonna spend it out into those gifts that we just were given. And then from there, we're gonna take that and we're gonna say together, we bless these gifts. We see these gifts going out and blessing our community and the world.
And so it is. Amen. Thank you so much.
Oh, I felt that.
Yes. So there are a few things that I want to let you know. First of all, before I get into all of our regular announcements, I want to let you know that we are having a celebration of life for Darwin next Saturday right here at Unity of Tucson. Darwin was a substantial figure in our community, not just because he was about 10 feet tall, but his love and outpouring of love and the person that he is and continues to be is something that I think should be celebrated, although he is no longer on this plane of action. So if you are moved to be here, the celebration will start at 1 p.m. next Saturday, celebration of life for Darwin. Deeply miss him, and I'm going to now move on because I'm getting emotional. We have yes. Yes, Sherry Bolin, thank you. We're inviting people to bring treats that can be shared in the reception as a potluck reception. So Sherry Bolin will have a sign-up sheet in the foyer. She's waving it there in the back of the room. If you are willing to bring something, please sign up with Sherry so we can have a sense of what we are going to have here present for what I expect will be a full house next week. So thank you also for participating in that way. Anything else I've forgotten? Okay. The events committee is meeting today in room A, which is different from where they met last week. So room A is the room off of Harmony Hall. If you go down the hall past the washrooms through Harmony Hall, room A is there on your left, right next door to room B, which is the nursery room. So if you are on the events committee and helping with the Feeling Good concert, are you doing anything with the gala today? Okay. All right, so for either the Feeling Good concert on March 17th or the gala celebration on November 10th, if you are participating or would like to participate and help out, please join Karen Ives and company at the events committee meeting today at 11:30 in room A. The other thing is we are we are solidifying the dates when we hold potlucks here, because for a while it was like, oh, we're going to do it on this Sunday, we'll do it on this Sunday, and usually it had a theme, like Mother's Day we would do a potluck, but we've decided this year we're going to try something new. We're going to have the potluck on the last Sunday of each month, and so we are inviting everyone to bring a dish and a friend to share. Get it? So the next one will be on January 29th, and that is, so of course, 2 weeks from today. If you have an idea of what you will be bringing, you can sign up for that. Also in the foyer, you can see Molly, who is our magnificent leader of the Unitix social group here, and she manages all of the potlucks. Always grateful for that. So sign up for your potluck. Sign up for the potluck with Molly. We have a board meeting today, and it is at 11:45 in the annex, room 3. All members are invited to attend and observe the board meetings. I don't know if you know that as a member, you are welcome to observe the business of the organization. So if that appeals to you or calls to you, please feel free to join the board today at 11:45 in the annex, room 3. The annex is the little building out here, in case you don't know where that is. It's a separate building out that way. Also, save the date, as we've already mentioned. The annual meeting will be February 19th. After service, where you will be invited to know what happened last year and what we are looking forward to in the coming year as we vision ourselves into greater expressions of this thing called Unity of Tucson. Also, we have a new group that is going to be meeting on the second Sunday of each month at Whole Foods. It is the Rainbow Lunch Bunch, Unity of Tucson's new group for LGBTQ plus members and allies. So just want to be clear that you can be an ally and be we're not separating ourselves. We invite you to be there to socialize and discuss spiritual principle from the point of view of that community. And so if you are looking forward to that, the first and next one will be on February 12th. I want to say that our prayer chaplains in service today, you've seen them both, are Ruth Starwell and Sherry Hoffman. They will be available for a moment of prayer. They'll maintain themselves in the sanctuary, kind of halfway down on either side. So if there's something that is calling to you to be healed through prayer, you can seek one of them out. Other ways to engage in prayer in our community is to write your prayer intention on a slip, put it into the prayer intention box, which is in the foyer. You'll see it. It's right there outside the doors as you go out. And know that all the prayers that we receive are prayed upon by our entire community of prayer chaplains here, and are also sent to Silent Unity, which is Unity's worldwide prayer ministry. And so there they get prayed over for 30 days as well. So you got a lot of good people praying for you. So take advantage of that. I want to say thank you to everybody who made today the experience that it is. First, let me thank our technical team, Wally and Don and Rowan in the back. Always grateful for their magnificent work. I would like to say thank you to Steve, our board member on duty today, for leading us in our offering. Yes, I want to say thank you to our keeper of the flames, Mary Alls, guiding us in the flames of faith. Of course, our prayer chaplains, Ruth and Sherry, thank you. If you missed Sherry's meditation before service today, it was a particularly good one. So come to meditation at 9:30 before service. If you're not experiencing it, I'm telling you, you should experience it. They're absolutely extraordinary. I want to say thank you, of course, to this magnificent team of musicians, Linda and Paul and Raphael. Today, I want to give a special shout out to Karen Ives, who I think now has left the room as she's going and preparing to lead the events committee meeting, because Karen has taken on the mantle of rolling with managing the events this year that help raise revenue to keep us thriving as a community. And I'm so grateful for all the work that she does. So even though she's not in the room, let us give a great applause to Karen Ives. And I want to thank each and every one of you. I want to thank you for making your presence known here on this thing called Earth, in this experience called life. I am so grateful to each and every one of you. I am so delighted to be able to see your beautiful faces, the faces of God, each and every Sunday. Thank you. As we complete our time here, let us acknowledge in our hearts this prayer of divine awareness. I am infinite light. I am infinite love. I am infinite power. I am infinite presence. Wherever God is, I am. Wherever I am, God is. And so it is. Amen. Here's our closing song. One of my favorites. Feel free to move your body. I had a dream so big and loud. I jumped so high, I touched the clouds. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Stretched my hands out to the sky and danced with monsters through the night. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I'm never gonna look back. Oh, I'm never gonna give it up. No, please don't wake me now. Ooh, ooh, this is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. With friends, and then the sun came crashing in. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. But all the possibilities, no limits, just epiphanies. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I'm never gonna look back. Whoa, I'm never gonna give it up. No, please don't wake me now. Ooh, ooh, this is gonna be the best day of my life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. I hear it calling outside my window. I feel it in my soul. The stars were burning so bright. The sun was out till midnight. I say we lose control. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. This is gonna be the best day of my life. Everybody's alright, everybody up now. This is gonna be the best day of my life. My life. Make it a magnificent week, everyone.